Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Terrestrial Material, where we talk about material us terrestrials are interested in. This is episode 14, take 2, actually, at this point. We had a little bit of a technical issue on the first one with French's camera, and OBS was very mean to us, so we had to restart, re-get everything going again. But we are, yeah, Jeff, you are correct. Somebody shot again at the house, and we had to shut down the stream. So now we're back. We definitely wanted to take an opportunity tonight to go over the Peru expedition that Timothy Alberino and Wrecker did. Where they went over and kind of adjusted, or not adjusted, but looked at all of these quote unquote attacks and all the kind of hoopla that's been going around with Peru. And they've done a pretty good job. And I think we'll have a real good fun time going over it. But we got French back after a little bit of an absence. So another absence, actually, two of them. How you doing, Frenchie? Now you're back.
Yeah. I'm all right.
Okay, boy, oh boy. We, like I said, we haven't had like a lot of technical issues at all. And we got one right there. But like we mentioned at the start of the last one, this was an episode really about, just us reviewing that report that Alberino and Wrecker got. It's about an hour and 50 minutes long or so. Definitely the link is in the description, so make sure you go take a look at it. It's a pretty good watch. What were your first takeaways from it, French?
So it's funny because like I'm saying it again, but so like the journalism like aspect of it, like from their perspective, like how they went and and did their own investigations, like interviewed like a bunch of the villagers and stuff. They went to the spots where the recordings were like off the cell phones in like the cities or city. And then the other side of it was like the humanitarian side of it, how they didn't just go there for journalism and everything. They went there to bring the people in the village, because I think he said it was only like 200 people in that village of
Right.
the Antonio. I can't pronounce the
Yeah,
second part of it, but
it's San Antonio de Pintuaca, if I'm pronouncing it anywhere near right. Yeah, but it's in
close
Peru.
enough.
Yeah,
It sounds good, but
right.
it's a small village. There's only 200 people, and they've had these, attacks happening to them, and they've reached out to the Navy numerous times, and they've just ignored them, where they think they're just crazy villagers or something. So they went there with supplies, resources. They taught them about how to more properly handle the weapons that they do have access to. They gave them like radios, better communications, and taught them about formations and stuff so they could better arm themselves, because just nobody was responding. So
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
thought that was pretty cool.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the watch. I mean, it's always good to have people kind of get boots on the ground and really go take a look at some of these things that do pop up, whether it's UFO related or not, because we don't get a lot of like new events that happen in ufology that are like recent at
Mm-mm.
all. So it is nice that we get a better perspective, a more in-depth there perspective for sure. I mean, I know that you kind of bring up the humanitarian side. It does seem, especially the front end of it, it does seem kind of like a little bit of a mission trip, right? Like it has that vibe, because I know a church in Nashville actually funded the whole trip for them. And when I first heard that at the start of the documentary, I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about that, because they gave them money from the church. It should go to the community if they're going to go hunt the Green Goblin. You know what I mean? But no, I think when you take more time and you watch the rest of really what happened and what they did, there was a lot of good. I think they brought to the people, and it didn't seem like
Yeah, absolutely.
it didn't seem like some giant grift thing to me at that point.
Mm-mm.
Um, well, I mean, overall, when you hear the story that Talia told the 15-year-old girl, what was your perception of her? Did you feel like she was kind of telling the truth? I mean, she looked nervous to me. How were you feeling about it?
I don't. I'm sure, like, obviously something like happened to her, because in any like clips or images that they had of her like during the interview process and stuff, she was like still really like on edge, spooked, and they talked about that, like how she absolutely had like PTSD from what actually happened to her. And she was like prescribed by like the doctor. She has like the documentation of like she was diagnosed with PTSD and everything. But the story was like really crazy to me that she told, and like how they got her, and then like it's almost like they didn't have time to like take her where they really wanted to take her to do what they're gonna do. So I guess they just took her behind this hut and they had her like held and pinned down, and they're putting chemicals on her and like and shooting that what it was that syringe, the nasal syringe. They like shot whatever chemicals that they mixed in their hands, like up her nose to like
Yeah, they
paralyze her face and stuff.
oh yeah, they rubbed a cream on her face. And
Yeah, it was
I
like
know
powder and something they mixed.
Yeah, I know Wrecker was saying that he thought it was something like a mixture with lidocaine in it,
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Yeah, it was like it was kind of like eerie listening to it
Yeah.
because like when you think about it, like it was. I mean, it's a really pretty creepy story. And then the marks on her neck. I don't know if they said it was from like face peelers and stuff because that's like basically what they're kind of like almost chalking this up to, given the Peruvian like history and lore and everything, like folk tales and stuff like that. But they said maybe like from what she was describing it as was like a laser scalpel, but like they kept calling those scars like on her neck. They didn't really look like scars. They kind of
Yeah.
just looked like scratches, and she was wearing that gold necklace. And so I'm wondering if it was something from the struggle from like the assailants and her and the gold chain or whatever it was. It kind of like cut her and scraped her because it didn't. If it was a laser scalpel, I feel like it would have been like a deep cut or something, and it wouldn't have scarred already because when was the attack? I don't remember the date that they said it was.
I can't remember the exact date of it, to be honest. Yeah, I mean,
Um,
this has been going on since July, like all of this
right.
stuff. Like it's been a process that's just rolled out little bit by little bit. You hear something, but honestly, like it's
I think
been
her case was the most recent too, I
yeah.
think.
Well, no, because there's a kid right now that there's a video that I seen. He's got a real bad gash in his neck right now,
Oh.
where it was bloody. It was pretty
Oh, yeah, they
nasty.
talk about that towards the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there
yeah.
there has been one, but I think she was the one before that that a lot of people were really taking a look at. So yeah, I mean, for me, it seems like when I first started listening to it, I was thinking, okay, they're really gonna come up with nothing. They're not gonna find any aliens with it at that point. Which I mean, I think they do a really good job at being honest about it and saying, hey, look, we don't think that it's really necessarily aliens ripping faces off or anything like that.
Mhm.
But my initial takeaway is like when you hear the story she tells about how she's standing out there, she's knocking the fruit down from the tree, she's collecting what she needs. These two creatures or people, however you want to say them, in suits of armor come up to her, or in some kind of armor, right? Blacked out
Mhm.
armor, elongated
Yeah.
helmet. All of this seems like prosaic, like you have prosaic reasons of why kind of these things could be here, and then it just goes to hoverboards and like just feet like the saucers on the feet, them flying around and stuff like that. And it always seems to me like everything that sounds like alien or paranormal at all this story, it sounds like
Hover.
it's tacked on, like it's just hammered onto a story,
Yeah.
because nothing else in the story really feels like it follows that same path. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was my first thought too. I was like, "Well, why does it always have to be like something that hovers or something that has this crazy technology?" I mean, yeah, they have like the navy and everything there, and obviously that's the village, but like the city and like their navy and stuff that goes and helps or whatever their military is and police and stuff. They obviously have more resources and stuff, but they don't have as much resources or exposure to like let's say like a Kevlar vest or something. At least from like what I kind of think and picture, a Peruvian
Right.
rainforest, and there's only a certain amount of resources and exposure that you can get to stuff like that. So um for them to say like suits of armor and everything, like I wouldn't say it would necessarily be like anything alien tech. It could just be a regular suit of armor that somebody has, like some sort of military vests or anything. And because they make those like those Ronin masks, the military does have some of those
Correct. Good
too.
point, dude. Really good point.
And
Yeah.
that was my first thought. I was like, well,
Yeah.
maybe somebody, pirates or something, or a cartel, even though they excluded the cartel, they were like, no, it's not that. I was like, well, they could have some connection, right? They could have made deal to get better guns, better gear, and that could have been one of the things,
Well, and
you
when you
know?
look at Ronin masks, this is a super good point from you. They look like an alien head. They do.
It looks, I mean, if you were in the dark and you were only
Correct.
shining a flashlight on it with let's think about moisture, humidity, fog,
Right.
trees, everything. Yeah, it's gonna look like how he described like the Green Goblin
Yeah,
mask.
and you're 15 years old from Peru. You've never probably seen a Ronin mask before. You've no
Mm-mm.
idea what that is. Dude, that's a really crazy good point. Yeah, so that makes sense. And the thing that stuck out too was she said there was two attackers. One of them spoke, well, both spoke Spanish, but one was a gringo accent, which I almost fell out of my seat laughing at that. And then the other one sounded more Peruvian, and that to me, I go, oh, okay, this makes more sense now. Because my original take on all of this was that this was like some kind of cartel activity, that it really was. That they maybe they are harvesting organs, maybe they are doing human trafficking. Those things all make sense to me as a possibility for sure. And when
That's one
they
of the first notes I took. Yeah.
yeah. And so when you look at the story that we initially got with this, which was they were miners with jetpacks, and supposedly
Yeah,
the
that's
yeah, like the police or what have you that came and originally reported that. It's like a
hmm
lot of these countries, man, these cops are paid off by cartels. And if they are human
absolutely.
trafficking and they are stealing organs, they're doing this, they're probably going to cut the police in, and they might have said, "Hey, look, make a stupid story like miners with jetpacks, so this falls away in the media and nobody cares. They think it's a silly story. No one will ever look again." You know what I mean?
That's what's crazy to me though, is like he said the police had to come obviously because it was reported as like attempt kidnapping or whatever. So they have to come and do their job. But for them to like fabricate a story like that of what it is, the miners with jetpacks, I'm like, not everybody they can't really believe that, right? But that's like kind of like what they started rolling with. And I was like thinking, and then he said that the villagers and stuff, when he was training them how to do like their patrols and everything, he's like, yeah, they're not dumb people by any means. He's like,
Right.
they're actually really smart. I'm like, then why would they stick with that story and go with it and just roll that out? And then they were starting there, some of them like still believe that, but then when they came to investigate and interview, they brought up like um, the hoverboards and like the boots based off of what they described it as. And then after they kind of like said, oh, so like a hoverboard and boots and stuff, then like the villagers and everybody else was kind of like, oh yeah, not miners with jetpacks. So they kind of like put that in their heads too, which I
Yeah.
thought was interesting.
Yeah. I never heard any of the Peruvian, like, any of the stuff that I heard. It was always not miners with jetpacks from those people. That was something that was like after the fact. That was something that another story that was put out there. And what you hear from what Tim and them were saying, which is yeah, they believe that this is what they're seeing. I mean, they believe that they're setting up traps, like 12 gauge shotgun traps out in the Amazon, dude, trying to shoot
Crazy,
these guys and
crazy.
take them down. I mean, they show in the video. I want to say documentary, but it's not really a documentary. It's just this report. I mean, they show clips throughout, which
Yeah,
is
a
interesting. Another
lot.
reason, yeah,
Yeah,
it's another reason to watch it. But that they cleared this giant radius
yeah.
around their entire village, cut the trees down, moved everything out.
Burned them and everything too.
Right, right, just so they could keep this line of sight, and protect the village. And it's dude, it's insane. They really think that there's something going on here, with space creatures, what have you. I mean, they think there's a
Something, yeah.
phenomenon. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you could tell like the villagers were more like on edge in all the clips of them like talking to the individual villagers or just like, interacting as a whole. Like you
yeah.
could tell the villagers were more like serious and they were paying attention to what they were saying and going over like what they saw and everything. And then they go the 55 miles or whatever to the one city, which I can't remember the name either. Do you have that one wrote down?
Um, I don't. I forgot the name of that one. That's the
But that
city
was
they
the
went to
big
had
major
the
city.
yeah, I had the original video, like one of the big original videos of supposedly the gray alien on top of the roof and the trees. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you watch like the citizens of like that city, like their interaction and like going over the story and everything, they're not like as on edge. I see a lot of them like sitting down, laughing, joking and stuff, as opposed to like the villagers, where the villagers are like, yeah, give us guns, teach us how to kill these things, whatever it is. It's like something's really messing with those villagers, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, my takeaway overall is I do think it's something probably cartel based or something like that. You'd have to really show me like a boot print. Like I know they were talking about when they would walk out to those traps. Like Tim and Wrecker didn't see these because I guess it rained when they were there, which is another interesting thing we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But those trap areas when it wasn't raining, when they weren't there, you could actually see those saucer foot boot prints. And I'm like, God, I wish we'd have got a photo, of something like that if that was the case. But yeah, but it rained, and so they didn't get any of that at that time. But he also said that it had been a while since they've had like a lot of activity around that village.
Like 1 month, I think he said. It's been
right.
like a month of like nothing.
Yeah, it was quiet, which is also pretty interesting because it's not something that is just hammering every night. Which I mean, we would have heard more at that point about it. I think if it was on a weekly basis, but.
I mean, definitely. It might pick back up. We might hear more soon.
I know. We got to see where it really goes with it at that point. Yeah, for sure. But no, I think the girl's story was she seemed interesting. She had a TikTok shirt on. Was that weird to you?
All of their clothes were really strange to me. Now, granted, they were probably a lot of like like we were just talking about earlier, like humanitarian resources, supplies, shipping them and stuff. I could get that, but. Yeah, the TikTok shirt, I was like, huh, that's interesting. And then in one of the other clips, the dude had a white shirt on and it said always on it. And you remember like Dove soap bars, how like sometimes it'd say like Dove always, like
in the
font.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it was too. And I was like, I didn't even know they made shirts like that. Like it was like I assumed like on the back of the shirt it said Dove or something. I don't know. And the one guy had a hat and it said Queen on it above the bill. And I was like, hell yeah.
I mean, this is what I was mentioning yesterday with Ali and them was like, I know it's like, it says TikTok, and I know that a lot of these villagers, they get clothes sent to them. They do, like but it's mostly like older brands or like older shirts, not usually like relevant, like a TikTok, or because the shirt looked kind of new. I'm not going to lie.
And it's funny you brought that up too, because in their video that they did where they were talking about their whole expedition and stuff, what did he say? Oh, he talked about like the one body that they found where the face was like missing or whatever, and like that cooler bag, and he's like, well, we took it down, we're not gonna put it back up because it got demonetized, yada yada.
Yeah.
So I went to go look for it, see if I could like find like the video or anything. You can't even find it anywhere except on TikTok. All the Peru stuff, like the videos and stuff, it's all on TikTok. That's like their only form of like social outreach. Like as far as like any other coverage, like you just go to Google and type it in. No, it's nothing. It's all about like their justice system and like crime and stuff, but nothing about like any like Peruvian attacks or even more specifically the body with the face missing. And I still couldn't find it. I found it on TikTok, I guess, but I was going to download TikTok for it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't let me go through like the website to do it. I was like, no, I'm not putting TikTok on my phone.
No. Yeah, me neither. I still haven't went down that road with it at all, but no. Yeah, dude. I mean, it is weird that video is just like you can't get it.
It kind of pissed me off a little bit.
I mean, some people think that's a good sign that it's real in the sense of like that was actually a dead body. I mean, whether or not it had its face peeled off because of an alien, or what do they call them? The Palakota?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, but that's really what they call them. You see, they took an 18-hour boat ride to get down there.
Isn't that insane,
dude? That's insane to me. I mean, what a trip it is to get over there and to get down there. But it's cool to see that they did some good. Bring them the food and stuff like that. I mean, no matter what, training the people. I mean, they went through quite the regimen. It looked like. I mean, Wrecker said Wrecker said he looked at their whole like compound and sectioned it off into like 6 different quadrants. And when they left, they were already moving around. They had the walkie-talkies and the night vision. Dude, they took them night vision.
Yeah,
they took them, high-powered flashlights. They showed them like how to use the guns correctly, because I guess there's been a lot of like misfires because a lot of these shotguns and stuff that they have, which is it's not high-end quality weaponry that we're talking about here. Some of that stuff doesn't even have a safety switch on it. And so they taught them, hey, keep the gun down, put safety if it's on, and I mean, so those are all good things. I don't see any harm in doing that, which I feel like a lot of people were going to look at this and kind of they were waiting for the harm, right? Like a lot of people were waiting for this report, Frenchie, to come back and show the grift, and I just didn't see it.
No, I didn't either. Like when they said that they first pulled up to like the shore and everything, and they were obviously greeted by like these 20 people with guns pointed at them and everything. Like it's like, yeah, I could get that. And also from their end, like that's still kind of brave to like kind of expect something. Like they're obviously going to be on edge, but like something like that too. Let alone you pull up and it's just like, hey, introduce yourselves. Oh, you're the gringos coming to. Okay, come on. I was like, yeah, I would be on edge for sure. But yeah, those shotguns, man. When Wrecker was showing them and like the breech release and everything, like they're held together by like wire for like the release, and they're just single barrel, 16 gauge, and that's it. And he's like, look, there's mud all in here, there's debris all in the barrel, there's rust. He's like, I don't even know if these will work or fire in the first place. He's like, we'll teach them some safety.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of that kind of makes sense when you look at the reports that the villagers were saying when they said, we shot at these, entities, whatever you want to call them, and the bullets seem to kind of go through them or things like that, where it's like, man, you probably missed, bro. You're in the middle of the night shooting a really horrible musket style weapon, like you probably didn't
Essentially.
hit it. Yeah, yeah,
And they said whenever they did think they made contact, they heard like a dinging noise.
yeah.
And that was like their armor that they could hear. And then the traps that you were talking about earlier, they were setting up these barrels that were like rigged with like the shotgun shells. And they said, um, I think you said they only had like 15 or 20 of them set up. But like one lady went walking through and like walked into one time and like basically almost blew her leg off, like blew a hole in her leg and everything. And so they're like, oh, well, we're not getting rid of them because these attacks are more serious. So then he said they would hear them going off, and they wouldn't go out that night after they heard the noises of the traps going off, but they kept hearing them, like 5 or 6 of them. They said they'd wait till the next day when it's daytime and they'd go and look. He said they would see like nothing. There's no sign of any struggle. There's no blood anywhere. There's no debris of like maybe clothing being shredded or anything. Nothing. And oh, ties too. They were like the rope traps too. And
Oh yeah, yeah,
somehow
yeah, yeah.
somehow none of them were in the ropes or anything that got out, which isn't that crazy. Like if you wait till the next morning, if they are wearing suits of armor, chances are, in my opinion, even point blank with a 16 gauge like bird shot, it's probably not going to penetrate. It'll probably hurt like a lot, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're just hanging there overnight. You got time to, figure your stuff out and cut yourself free and roll out.
Well, I mean,
So
they
that
always came
was
in
a weird
pairs
thing.
too, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
so if one got caught, the other one could free him. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and my assumption with it being like probably some kind of cartel situation. I mean, these people also know the area. I mean, they could be setting off traps on purpose in
on
certain
purpose.
ways. Yeah, I mean, they might know what they're doing. I mean, I'm sure it's nothing really new to them at that point. What about what they were drinking at the very start when they first got to the village? Because they got quite the warm welcome once they were in there, right?
Yeah, it sounded like it. What the Masada?
Masato, yeah.
Masada, yeah.
Oh god, dude.
The the fermented he
Spit.
was calling it yucca fruit. I usually call it like yucca fruit from the game. 7 days to die, the yucca plants. You
I've
make tea out of it and stuff, but
I've never heard of
yeah,
that stuff, dude.
it's we have yucca plants here in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Some of our houses have them. Yeah, it's just like these little like weird pod things. I wouldn't really call it fruit, but I don't know. I'm not sure, but yeah, they're taking that fruit or whatever it is and putting it in a trough and like breaking it up, and then the village women would put it in their mouth and like spit it back in the trough and then add river water to it, and they just keep repeating that process, and they would ferment the fruit with like their spit, and it's like here's a housewarming drink.
Oh,
And Timothy said he likes it because I guess he spent time like a lot there, used to live there and everything.
yeah,
He's
yep.
like, yeah, I actually like it. And Wrecker's like, he's like, you have some good and some bad. And Wrecker's like, yeah, I don't. I'd hate to try the bad. He's like, yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah, yeah, but
I was
there's
like,
no
ugh,
there's no way. I mean, I would never. I'd have to turn that one down, bro. And it turns my
I
stomach to even like think about it. To be
kind
honest with
of
you.
weird color too. It was like when they would spit it back in the trough, dude. It was like a neon purple, like that looked like alien blood. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was like milky white or whatever when I was like, "Oh, man." Like, there's so many things like that in drinks with villagers and stuff like that. I don't know. I would definitely be, afraid of getting very, very sick. Because I mean, right? God, you'd have to have something go wrong. But yeah, I
I
mean,
know.
I figured, dude, yeah, I really did figure this report would come out and, they might go that grift way. I really did. Um, but the reason why I think I'm comfortable saying now that I don't see that being the case with this at all, because if you were going to really grift that, man, you would have done it now. You would have brought back some fake footage. You would have faked it. You want to get it while it's
Yeah.
hot right now and start that seed, because the best way to start it would be when you're there, not when
Oh,
you're home.
absolutely.
Yeah, not when you're
Yeah.
home sitting here. Where are you going to get the information? Where are you going to get the video from that people would believe? I mean, people believe a lot of stuff, but I mean that would like fool enough of the people to think that, yeah, that this is something that's going on with, some face peeling aliens.
Well, especially like when you're there and like nobody else like knows what's going on while you're there until you come back. So it's like even more of like a golden opportunity to grift it, you know?
It's a
And like at
golden
the
opportunity.
at the end they even said like, yeah, before we went into this, like people were calling us grifters and yada
Yeah,
yada. He's like, whatever, call us what you want. He's like, but here's what we reported, here's what we brought back. No, we didn't see anything while we were there, unfortunately. Like they were all honest about it. Like I didn't think it was anything like that. And
yeah.
like I said, I think it was more of like an investigative like curiosity, especially seems how Timothy used to live there. Timmy, what's Alberino?
Alberino, yeah,
Alberino, yeah. I always want to say Albertino. I don't know why, but
yeah.
but yeah, Alberino living there, so I could see why his curiosity. He really wanted to go back and investigate,
Yeah, for
do some
sure.
good.
I wonder if they do go back at some point though.
I don't know. I mean, maybe if like attacks start kicking up again, because he did say he's still like currently in contact with like the chief of that village and everything. Still, he's still talking to him right now. So
Yeah.
I could
Uh,
see that, something happening and be like, hey, would you like to come back? And I bet they would.
yeah, I mean, it would be interesting. I mean, even though I don't think it's like really like these aliens or something like that going and doing it, it's still a pretty crazy story, dude. Nevertheless,
Right. I'd like to know what it is doing it,
yeah,
because it's
yeah,
pretty malicious.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, 15-year-old kids and stuff, bro. I mean, come on. I mean, it's rough. It's rough to even like think that any of that stuff is really going on in the world. And I mean, unfortunately, dude, it is. So we kind of know that what the opportunity is. But I like the way that they went in and they did it. Too, I respected that. How they didn't go in with like a giant camera crew and a bunch of sound gear, because even villagers in Peru, I mean anybody, you start seeing cameras and mics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of an inkling to maybe play it up a little bit, and when they go with just kind of some GoPros, really low key, I think that does a really good job at keeping things authentic, right?
Yeah, and all the footage that they released with the video was it was a lot of like kind of far back perspective. Like it wasn't anything like up close in anybody's face at all. There wasn't any super loud audio or anything. It was, I mean, every clip was like a camera set somewhere, their GoPro, and maybe 10 feet, 15 feet, maybe even 20 feet in front of the camera was when they were conducting all their interviews and asking questions to villagers and stuff.
Yeah,
So
I wonder just
kept them at
how.
ease a little bit, I think.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, a small camera versus a big camera. Yeah, I mean, because I think even the GoPro still might have made Talia, the girl. Gotta hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Um, I probably still made her nervous. I think when I seen it, that her dad in the background, I wonder if she felt this more as kind of like like a sexual kind of assault, dude, and she was maybe even embarrassed to even talk about it in front of her parents.
Oh,
And
for
I could
sure.
imagine being like that. Even I wouldn't want to talk about like stuff like that in front of my parents. It's an uncomfortable thing, right?
Right. And you would have to like think that like all the kids in the villages and cities, like they all know about like human trafficking because of the cartel and everything. So there's no way like none of these kids have not been warned of the
Yes.
dangers of it. So
Yeah.
And right, and to survive an attack, not knowing exactly what was going to be the outcome, yeah, for sure. That's why she was so spooked the way she was. And then, dude, at the end, where they brought back the clip again of them interviewing her, and Wrecker said he was standing from the camera angle, he was to her right side. He's like, look at the look that she gives me, because he said she felt really uncomfortable around him all the time, like until like towards the end when they warmed up, because of like the gringo accent. Because she compared the one that had one like Alberino's, so
Correct.
that freaked her out. And then they're talking about dealing with these 10-foot tall creatures or whatever, armored up and everything. And Wrecker's a big dude, and Alberino's a pretty tall dude too. He said, I think he said he was like 6'2",
6'1".
six
I think so,
one,
six
yeah.
one, yeah. But
And
the dude's
so,
in shape. I mean, he's not like he's not in shape.
yeah, but she like, dude, the look that she does to the side, like, is like the 1,000-yard stare of like, I do not like you right now, standing next to me.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. And that's like what I kind of, it did it for me, for it was like, I don't think like any of this is like actually like fabricated. We just don't know what
No, I agree.
actually is going on, because all the mannerisms from all the people that they talk to, and they're going around, teaching their stuff. It's like, yeah, they're pretty spooked about something. She was the worst of them all.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more, dude. There's something going on. I mean, I don't think you can argue that. Like, there's something whether or
Right.
not they think they're confused about really what it is. That's why you need more people to go look at it. But that's why I said, when they said, oh, it's alien, it's jetpacks, miners, dude, every news outlet, you think CNN, or I mean, just Fox News, anybody, CNN, you're gonna send people down there to go investigate that after they hear that that's an explanation. I mean, even though it's a ridiculous explanation, I mean, where are these guys? Where are miners getting $30, $40, $50,000 per jetpack?
Right.
I mean, to what?
What do you say?
I
At
mean,
minimum, like a cheap one was.
you said what? You kind of cut out. What was that?
He said at minimum, like even a cheap one was like 10 grand.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I mean,
like,
so what's the overhead, and what's the profit line of that? Yeah, it's weird. Plus, I mean, we didn't see anything as far as like, them trying to bring in equipment at all. I haven't seen any equipment. I don't think they mentioned that either, but in the review. But I've been looking around for that too. Like, where are the big trucks that are moving these trees and or whatever ore that they're going for? This doesn't really seem to make any sense, man.
No, what's also weird is like the rain thing that
Yeah,
you were talking about earlier. He said like the whole time they were there, it was pretty much like raining. And he said that the villagers and the city people said like nothing ever happens when it rains. Like, and I was like kind of like wondering like why would that deter like whatever's attacking them? And I don't know if maybe it's because they don't want to get whatever gear that they do have, whoever they are, because it's expensive to them to conduct whatever, malignant agenda they have, but they don't want to get stuff dirty, ruined, broken, ruin their night vision goggles, whatever it is.
yeah, which makes me believe it's more human again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a more of a kind of a human thing. Um, yeah, I wonder, man.
Yeah, because in any other like rainforest or just any other jungle setting, like when it rains, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect any of them. They still carry on whatever they have to for the day. So there's a pretty big reason of why the attacks aren't happening when it's raining.
Yeah, plus, I mean, it's a residential area. I mean, it kind of is. I mean, this is where Talila was attacked. I mean, so they know that this is where the kids are. I mean, if that's what they're really going to do is, for human trafficking, makes sense they're going to be around that area. You know what I mean? So I'm not really
Well, you brought
surprised
up
by
a
that.
good point too. Like the city, they don't have as many attacks in the city because they have the military and the police and everything, and they obviously have better weaponry and stuff. That's why they're attacking the village. I'm like, again, more human reasoning behind it. Like,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, when you hear that technology, because they're talking about not just like hover boots, but there, as you can see on the thumbnail for the show, I mean, there's like these platforms that they are standing on, like these not surfboards, but these boards that they move on, and then they're also talking about like acorn style UFOs that are there, and when I seen the drawing, other than like the front end of it, it kind of looked like a tic tac a little bit. No?
Kind of, but like the way they drew it was like what was the front and what was the back, because it's almost like a little bit out of shape to where there is specifically a front. And he did say like they described like some sort of exhaust coming from it. And what was also really interesting to me, um, the guy who was going out to check his traps at like 3 in the morning in the lake or whatever, and he said he looked up and the ship was like this mesh material. I've never heard
Yeah.
of a ship being described as that before. So that was a new one for me too, at least for me. And I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. Like I haven't heard of any ship, any anomaly like that being described as like a mesh, like see through. Because he said he could see through it, and that's how he was able to see like the two people in it. And I was
I
like,
know.
what in the hell?
Well, and that's the other thing. So like they're seeing them in these crafts,
Mm-hmm.
coming down. I try to think, man. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not an expert on like Peruvian culture or anything like that. But I would love to know what even more into their history these things could be, what they're describing, and why they're seeing them this way, or like what are these? That's the weirdest thing is like
Yeah.
they brought us the whole expedition that they did, this report. We got some new information, right? Like we heard like what they did, and they brought us this case with this girl. They gave us kind of more of the background situation, but we still really don't know. We still don't really have that full explanation yet of what this thing could be. And God, it's frustrating. It's still left up to, I guess, interpretation. I mean, I know they're interpreting as they think, that this is definitely some kind of, from what they're seeing or from what they're hearing, that it's some kind of UFO technology, some kind of advanced human tech. What do you think about that?
I think they think that because they don't really have tech like that. And so it's, weird stuff's going on. People are being killed and kidnapped and stuff. And obviously they're what is it, folklore or whatever, from like
Well, I'm
the
saying I'm
wherever
saying Rick
residents
and
and stuff.
I'm saying Rick and or Wrecker and Tim are saying that they themselves think that that it's advanced tech that's possible. That's what's going on.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think they think that just because of like the descriptions that they were given from the people. And I do think like the hover boots, if you want to call them that, and the discs that they were getting on and everything. And I could see like why you would think that. I mean, anything that has something of that capability, that's usually like I would be my first thought is be like, oh, it's kind of some sort of crazier technology that we don't have, and it's came from somewhere else. But they also did do a lot of work to um, figure out what they do know and don't know. And obviously they went there for a reason, because in from the beginning they did believe that it was more so something, extraterrestrial, whatever technology, not from here. So I
Yeah,
think
but
that's why they thought that.
yeah, I mean, they went, I think, pretty open minded from what was said. I mean, I know that Ali on Alien Attic. I mean, Wrecker came on and we got to talk to him before they had actually went on the trip, and they were saying how open minded they were going. They weren't going there to just say that it's aliens. They're bringing this gear to investigate. So I think when you look at that and then you look at this report, they kind of did that, man. They kind of did that. I mean, obviously they think it's like we're talking about right now. They think it's advanced US, or not US, but it's just advanced technology from wherever, UAP, UFO, whatever you want to call it, technology. I don't mind if they think that. I mean, if
Mm-mm.
they start coming out and saying, "Hey, this is really what it is," and you start seeing that, I think things could change at that point. But a lot of people think that this is possibly, I know Ali definitely does, that this is like a possible start to like a blue beam, like a test for like a blue beam, or this fake alien invasion that that people have warned about. Werner von Braun's warned about for years, that this is the last final card that the government would use to kind of create this one world government situation. What do you think about that?
It would make sense. I mean, do it somewhere that's pretty isolated from everywhere else. Do it somewhere to where there's not going to be really any documentation other than your own because you know about it. Um,
Yeah.
that's really my thought. I think it'd be the perfect example and perfect place to do it. You don't want to do you're not going to do something like that in major cities. No way.
Yeah, I think a good point that he made was he was like, well, it's an 18-hour boat ride. They
Yeah,
a
that
lot of
too.
these news stations won't go. And so if they wanted to kind of control a narrative out of there, they could maybe more easily do that. Which makes sense. I mean, I still think they would want personally, like I still think that they would want like a fake alien invasion to be a bit more accessible so that the media could get a hold of it and kind of spread that. But if you were talking about maybe just like a precursor test, like some kind of process that they could begin or like plant this seed where down the line, maybe 5, 10, 15 years, they start bringing in these jetpacks or whatever you want to call them, these boots and
Right.
these that are hover boots, and they're bringing all these kind of face peelers in. They could say, "Hey, remember long ago in Peru? Remember these people? Yeah. Well, that now that's starting to happen in Israel. And now it's starting to happen in Russia or in England, or there's people being taken there." And you would look back and think, yeah, that's happened in the past, and maybe you could build off that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, cuz it is subtle enough from what has been going on and what's been documented and reported. It's definitely like that would be like the perfect first step if they were going to do something like that for sure. And it is kind of scary to think about because the way that it would be peddled out so loosely and slowly. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
something
they
over a
could
long
definitely do
time,
something like
right?
that. Yeah, it would have to be. I don't know, maybe about like 10 years, but no, I
Well,
guess
yeah,
you could
yeah,
stretch it out as long as you wanted. Let's be honest. I mean,
for sure, for sure.
but the other reason why like it kind of like messes with my head because like in the village and the cities and everything, like they have cell phones, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
But they don't really
Primitive, all
have.
right, right. I mean,
I think so. Well, no, he said a smartphone. The chief had a smartphone that he
oh,
was
okay,
recording the
okay.
stuff with. So I don't know if all of them have it or some of them have just older cell phones, but
And that's what I
it's
mean
weird.
by old. They're not like really primitive, you know. You know what I mean, right?
Okay, yeah,
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 you
okay.
know what I mean. I don't think they got Motorola Razors from '07. I'm not saying that. I just mean like, they don't have
I got
they
my
don't have a Max
sidekick.
iPhone 14 Max, bro. I mean, come on, right? Yeah, but like an older smartphone. Sure, sure.
um, they have those, but there's no other indication of any other like surveillance or any other type of technology or let's just say equipment
Right.
that is capable of recording. Because in my mind, it's like these attacks have been happening. Let's get some ring cameras. They have a generator. That's how they have lights in their village and everything. So they'd absolutely have a way to get some sort of camera system that's battery powered, and you would just have to charge it whenever it dies and see if something happens again to where whether it is human or not, it's capable of bypassing whatever surveillance has been set up. I mean, there's lots of cameras out there that you could actually do that with, and it'd be super simple.
Trail cams, man. I was wondering if they were gonna like.
That's a good one too. Yeah,
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if they were gonna take those,
I
and
think
put
you
some
want
up.
something a little bit more incognito, but
Yeah, I guess. I guess
I
they would.
guess trees and everything you could hide it pretty good up top.
I'm assuming. Yeah, I mean, if they're not there watching, like, with some kind of predator vision, what they're doing all day, these villagers, yeah, I mean, some kind of like hidden trail cam would be cool. And I wonder how well we could even access that from even in the U.S., right? I mean, if they were able to somehow get Wi-Fi, like, I don't know, maybe they were probably not,
Mm,
right? Probably no fucking internet, but
it'd have to be, yeah, I guess
you
it'd have to be
know,
like a live feed, but you could still do
yeah,
it.
I don't know
I'd
how
like
that
to
would
see
work.
like scans of
Yeah,
like so they said it was like a 55-mile like difference like trek from the village to the city that they went to through dick deep woods and everything like
oh, you mean
that.
the Amazon? Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty deep woods, bro.
I would like
Yeah,
to see like scans of like a 200-mile range
right.
or maybe even just like 100-mile range, another extra like 50 miles, but I would like to get like a giant circle around the 2 points of the happenings and see if you find any other equipment or gear or anything like that, or
Good
even like
point.
a thermal scan at night or something to see
Yeah.
what you can see.
Well, they have thermal. They left them with thermal.
Is it
So
thermal? I thought it was
yeah,
just night
no,
vision.
no, no, they have night vision and they have thermal, so they're out there. That's what
Oh,
they were
so
saying.
they can
Hey,
scan themselves.
yes, they can. But I tell you, it kind of because I mean, look, it's the Amazon, bro. I mean, we've studied a fraction. Like, who
Right.
knows what's really in the middle of the fucking Amazon, dude? Like, who knows? Um, but when you look at Talia's story, I also thought at the beginning of this there was an option that there was maybe like an animal that got loose, that was coming in the village and hurting people. There's been reports of things like that in the past in places, and like I said, it's the Amazon. Who knows what's there? Maybe there is
Good
some
point.
crazy creature that came in and we think is some kind of alien or something that looks very weird that has we gotten in their way, maybe, or maybe they've decided to move. That maybe something happened in the middle of the Amazon because we're not watching it. Who knows? Or with the logging and everything that's went on, maybe we pushed something around, and maybe that could have been an explanation for it. But especially when you look at her neck, though, those marks weren't like claw marks that I felt like, right?
No, they're like a super fine like scratch mark. That's why I said I really think it was from her necklace from like the struggle because if you look at the type of chain, it's that real fine, tiny looped
Yep.
like chain. And if you've ever worn a necklace of any type, like if you get it snagged or even pressed and like rubbed, it doesn't take much to create a mark on you. So think about that, and then think about the struggle that was being put forth. I think it was from the necklace.
Yeah. Well, not only that, I mean, they ended up bailing in mid process, right? Because of the other kids, the family kind of came out, and the two beings said to each other, one said, "Hey, we gotta go, leave her," and the
Yeah.
other one was like, "No, we
We
can't,
can't leave
we
her,
can't leave
yeah.
her," and that's what's crazy because you think like, do they have like God? It's hard to say, describe people as inventory, but like, is that kind of the way they viewed her? Is like they need more inventory for whatever they're doing? I mean, God, it's creepy, is it not? God, I hate almost
It's
even
no, it's
talking about this shit sometimes,
definitely
but
creepy. That's why I said it was eerie, like, listening to, like, what she was saying and talking about the story as they were translating it and describing it. I was like, "It's pretty wild, man." Regardless, whatever the hell it is, it's pretty
correct.
wild. And what you said about, like, we don't know what's out there, right? It's funny because I literally had that thought after I watched it, and I was doing stuff around the apartment, and I was just thinking just like a general forest around here. You know, especially at nighttime, people aren't just gonna like walk into like forests. Even hippies only go so far in the forest to, do whatever, and they come out. Think about how much of the forest that where you live you don't even know.
Right.
The Amazon's how many times larger than that?
It's wild, man. Yeah,
There's so much stuff. I mean, think about the ocean too. They're still discovering stuff in the ocean. But that's just because there's more people, I think,
I know.
dedicated to discovering what's down there, and people just aren't that invested to do it for the Amazon because of like diseases and bugs and all sorts of other stuff and resources and getting resources there. And
Well, yeah, it's dangerous in general. I mean, we know more about the sky above us than we do the oceans or the Amazon. How crazy is that to think what the thing that we walk
super
on every
crazy.
day? We don't even really have a clue. And this is the thing, no matter what you think about what these guys did, Alberino and Rucker, um, even if you think, yeah, they're going down there for a story and there's potential for that, but dude, there are cartels. Obviously, we know there. It is risky. It does kind of take some balls to go do that, dude. I mean,
That's
I'm not
yeah.
signing up to go down there, bro. There's no shot. So,
No.
um, it's definitely a risky gig. Plus, when you hear that, stuff is jumping over houses and trees. I mean, that's another
Yeah,
thing.
isn't that nuts, dude? I'm like,
I
what
know
in the hell?
I don't want to leave that out because like that was a really crazy part of the story where they were actually describing some of these creatures that were literally jumping houses, and that the athleticism was actually why the chieftain said that he thought that they were extraterrestrial. When they asked him why do you think that, it was the athleticism from them. I mean, what do you think about that jumping over how? Who's down there jumping, man? What's going on?
I They described the villagers, I guess, described it as like animalistic, like agility, because they said something about like when they were chasing them, they dove into the water and they could like swim really fast and everything too. I don't even know of an animal that like could really jump over the houses that they have around them where they are in Peru. Like,
Yeah,
that's wild to me.
yeah. I mean, we're not talking about giant buildings. I mean, a lot of these are like one floor, maybe two.
Like
Um,
I get like tigers and stuff and leopards and stuff. Yeah, they can jump high, but she said it like cleared the entire like house, the hut. And dude,
right.
nothing's doing that. No
Yeah.
animals doing that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, and there is panic. Obviously, these people are scared. So stories can be conflated a little bit, inflated. Um, and I think that was a really nice thing too that I think they made a mention of it, where they're like, yeah, there's only so much that we can draw conclusions of to make, we can't take everything at face value, which is another sign of, I think pretty good reporting, dude. You know,
Yeah, absolutely. I think they did a really good job. I think they did something really good for like the overall topic, whether they didn't come back with like anything. I mean, they still went and documented a story where nobody would for how many months. And they came back with, a lot of, you know, room for open opinions and speculations and stuff on whoever else's own accord. They gave their opinion of what they thought it was, and they did try to do, I wouldn't say try, they did do a pretty good job like describing, their conclusion as to what they thought it was.
well, 3 days. I mean, they spent 3 days. It's not like they, were there for an overnight situation.
Right.
They
And
they
then
definitely
it
took a good
sounds
amount
like
of
in
time.
the yeah, it sounds like in the 3 days, I mean, they covered a lot. They did a lot.
Yeah, they were out there, man. They really were. Um, I wish they would
Yeah.
have caught something, man. I mean, if it's real, if whatever they got, if it was a
Right.
real thing. But I think long term we might hear more about this. Every time it seems to go away on Twitter or anywhere in social media, YouTube, it always kind of pops back up again. Because it's been quiet ever since the girl attack, and then obviously we talked about the kid getting his neck really really hurt really bad in that city there. So we'll see where it all kind of plays out. I hope that we can get some more answers. Maybe they can go again down the road, but I'm not going to condemn them, not yet. you know,
No, I
we'll,
can't. I mean, it's too
yeah,
good of a story. It was interesting. Like,
yeah, yeah. I think if we get 6 months down the road and they decide to that they're getting videos and they're going to go ahead and deem it as this or that, I think people can go ahead and tear them apart, you know, proverbially if they want to. But I always have to like preface that, or actually after the fact on it, get after that. But yeah, because I hope the best for them. It
yeah, I
was
wouldn't
definitely an
say it's
interesting piece of
justified
content.
to get beat down for whatever they did,
No, no, no.
honestly.
And let's
And
let's be
if you
honest too.
take that route, you're kind of a piece of shit. Sorry.
Yeah, and let's be real. Like, what do they got? 80K views on that? 90K views? I mean, look, bro, they're not making hundreds of thousands of dollars here. Um,
Mm-mm.
I don't think that was right now. I don't think that right now is really where they're looking to go at that point. I mean, any final thoughts on it, brother, that you have? 'Cause I think we really went over it. You know,
Yeah. It's messed up. Whatever is happening there. Um, my conclusion is I don't think it's anything ET. I think it's more human related than we think. Um,
oh, did we lose him again? Did we really literally lose him again? Oh no, you're back. You're back.
I was like,
I got you a show on stream, dude. I got you a show on stream. I was gonna literally just like flip the table and just go, yeah, you know what? They don't want us talking about this, man, because we've had the most technical issues that we've had in almost,
today
yeah,
alone. Yeah.
over 3 months of doing this show. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe you with your internet over there, buddy. I don't know. You got Comcast, don't you?
Screaming fast.
God, dude, don't get me started screaming fast.
No, it's not mine.
But yeah, finish your thought. Finish your thought because it cut you off there.
Um,
Your final thoughts on like your last. I know.
it once that happens, really, it just severs all brain cells. It
It
just
really
stops.
does. If
I
yeah, go ahead.
I think it's human. I think it's humans doing it. The other point that I want to make too was like the neck thing. It's like they're either trying to kill them by like going after like their jugular or something. But she said when they were talking about her and like don't inject too much, you'll ruin the skin or something. I think maybe it was, like, kinda lost in translation because of panic and fear. Maybe they meant, like, organs. They don't wanna damage the organs,
Oh
and
God, yeah,
I
it's a good
think they're
point.
going for the neck to kill them and then take them to whatever to harvest organs. That's my takeaway from it.
Detective French is on the damn case, bro.
Listen, I played Heavy Rain. I know what's going on.
Dude, see, this is why we gotta have you, bro. The Ronin mask, the saving the organs, bro. You're 7 different kinds of smoke tonight, bro. Um, dude, I really appreciate it. Good lord. Yeah, I mean, I guess final thoughts, takeaway. Yeah, I don't think that it's extraterrestrials. I don't think it's personally, I don't even think that it's ET technology that they have. I think that there's probably a
Mm-mm.
lot of shock of the situation. There's a lot of stories, and people can kind of, especially kids, the imaginations are incredible. They can kind of see what they want, and when you're trying to protect a village and you're scared for your family, man, I mean, fear can do a whole lot to your senses. So
Oh yeah.
um yeah, probably not. I definitely hope we hear a lot more about it in the future. The last, because we did an hour on that, man. That really was interesting, though. I really enjoyed that, dude. For the
Yeah.
last like 30 minutes or so, I kind of want to go over. I don't know if we'll do a full 30 on it, but I kind of want to go over like recent news and things that are going on around ufology right now. I mean, obviously the really big elephant in the room right now is the brand new news about Sean Kirkpatrick, who is the current director of the Arrow program for the Pentagon. He's stepping down in December, and right now we know that Timothy Phillips is going to be his interim replacement. So he's not the new director officially. They're gonna probably make a little bit of change later on, which I hope they go with Mr. Outside Hire or Mrs. Outside Hire to steal a line from The Office. But yeah, I mean they're kind of moving him out, and I mean I don't really trust anything from the DoD or Arrow, so I don't really know pulling in a guy like Phillips who's been in the senior national intelligence service since '06. I don't know if that's really going to make me think that he's not part of a cover up or that he's going to be more honest than Kirkpatrick. So I don't really have a lot of hope for that. However, in December, when Kirkpatrick does leave, well, before he leaves in December, I hope that we get access to like these emails about him, because him and Grush are kind of going back and forth. They're calling each other liars,
Hmm.
and Kirkpatrick's being pretty forthcoming, saying that the invitations that Arrow has sent to Grush to have Grush come in and tell him where the bodies are, tell him where the craft are, tell him who's involved. That he's actually declining these invitations, not ghosting, declining, which is a big difference here. Show me the receipts, Kirkpatrick. What do you think, man?
It's definitely like he said, she said BS between the two of them. And it's also very strange that like it's a simple solution.
Yeah,
Just
I agree.
just just show us who said what. Show us what you sent them. You
Yeah,
know?
neither side is doing it too, which
It'd be
is
so simple, yeah.
yeah, which is the weirdest part. And like, I personally think that this whole drama between them two and who's lying or not is a massive point in ufology right now for understanding where the hell any of this is going. Because if we find out that Grush is lying, that he's denied these emails, then like all his testimony to me is kaput. I don't care anymore. I can't trust anything else that he said for me
Mm-mm.
at that point. So a lot of this movement, congressional hearings, more skiffs, all this stuff goes away. Like we don't have any of that, any validity in that anymore, in my opinion. But if it, on the flip side, goes to Kirkpatrick, and we find that he's not sending these emails, he's not reaching out,
It's still just a shitty.
yeah, and it's still just a shit show. Then if you don't think that the Pentagon or the DoD has any hand in this in a cover up, but you have to at least question that at the least. I don't know how to help you at that point. I mean, to be able to see that there's something that's going on. And not only would we have to question Arrow French at that point, we have to question NASA, because NASA's new reports and things that they're working on, these UAP reports, they are in tandem with Arrow. And so you got to wonder if the infection has spread over to NASA.
Could be. You'd be weird to like not like get upset about this just kind of in general if you're that invested in this topic and everything, because like you said, yeah, it is a major point. Like you described it, there is a line in the sand. Um, and if Grush ends up being the one that's just not coming forward and he's the one denying or like declining everything, it's like, so the whole point of a whistleblower, for one, is they're trying to present the truth and expose what is actually happening. And if you get caught, you know, denying all, invitations to come and do so, poof,
Yeah.
instant, it shuts all that down in an instant. It doesn't fizzle away right then and there. Boom, that's instantaneous and done. But then, like you said, Kirkpatrick's side of it, I already don't like the DoD and Arrow for that reason. The DoD does do a lot of like redacting, and they'll present something to you, and then not too much longer later you can't find it ever again, and they don't give you a reason why. So I mean, that alone is obnoxious. That's why I don't like DoD. And like you said, Arrow and NASA, I don't. So that's the thing that sucks. You said like the infection spreads. I don't think it ever spread. I think it was already there with NASA and
Could
the
be.
UAP thing. Given that panel with however months ago it was, you know,
What a year, right?
right.
Yeah, what a year it's been.
It's just it was already there, and I think this is going to be like the deciding factor of fu or fu, and either whichever way it goes, it's instantly gone. It's not going to fizzle out.
Yeah, it's instant. And this is like another reason why I think this is so damn important, is because when do we ever get this opportunity to actually open and close something in ufology? We don't.
Right. Dude, it's
like,
right in the air.
I know. Everything is always, well, it could be left, it could be right. I don't know. I don't have evidence. You don't have evidence, man. It's always that. Now, granted, I think that Sean Kirkpatrick should just come out and drop the emails, because Grush is calling him a liar. I mean, if you were calling me a liar about something like that, I'd just show you the receipts, man. I'd dunk on you for sure. Even if you only got a month left, I would do that. However, the emails, I believe, are FOIA-able, and that's what John Greenwald is attempting to do right now. So he's trying to get to the access to those emails so that we can know really what the deal is. And I just want to see how that's going to play out, man, because that's just, boy, oh boy, when you're looking at first quarter, second quarter next year, this could end the party real soon.
No, absolutely.
If it comes out that Grush has been bullshitting here and he's not showing up, it could be very, very bad.
Well, it's funny to think about, like, Grush is calling Kirkpatrick a liar, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, like, yeah, I'd be pissed if somebody was calling me a liar. I'm going to prove you wrong. I don't think that's anything to, Kirkpatrick and anybody at Arrow or stuff like that. They've been called liars for how long?
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, if
yeah.
you think about it, they're like,
I guess, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah,
So
it's a good
like,
point.
On that hand, it's also kind of like shitty because like they don't really care if they're being called a liar. So it's like, man, who do I really, instill my trust in? Who do I actually believe?
Yeah.
It's like I can't pick a side right now, honestly. I can't. I'm just waiting to see what happens. And
So Kirkpatrick is looking at Grush's comments as just like an anime picture on Twitter guy.
Pretty much.
Look,
Pretty
hey,
much.
I haven't heard anybody else say that, so that's viable to me. I like hearing that. Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a good point, man. But
it's like a whistleblower is going to be proven a liar and a fake, or the people that have been called liars are going to be proven to be liars and fakes. And it's like, well,
I mean, if I had to lean,
sword.
It's true. I mean, if I had to lean a direction, whether I'm leaning towards Grush telling the truth on this or Kirkpatrick, I mean, I'd have to lean Grush, just because I think, just where Sean Kirkpatrick's coming from, right? What about you? What do you think?
I want to say Grush, but again, like, given the last, 3-4 months of, everything that's been going on and nothing's been able to be disclosed, the skiffs, all that stuff. And it's like, I'm kind of standing in the middle, like, just like, you ready? You ready? Whistle blow. Let's get it on.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a celebrity boxing match, man.
Dude, absolutely.
I mean, I'm taking Grush in the boxing match for sure. No doubt about that, right?
Yeah. You heard it first here, ladies and gentlemen. Get your bets in DraftKings.
We'll host a pay-per-view, buddy. You know what I mean? That'd be great. Yeah. But no, I mean, you bring up a good point. I mean, Grush's ground is shaky. I mean, they went into that skiff. I mean, granted, they didn't have the clearances, Burchett and Luna and them, but there's just really nothing new that's come out.
Mm-mm.
And I jumped on Lou Angeles' show for like 2 seconds tonight just to ask him this question too. He made the point of oh wow, now I'm gonna blank on the point at this. But yeah, he just made the point, like, that they're just not getting anything out at that point, and they're not getting the right people that are in there. Maybe I'll think about exactly what he said. I got it. Were you getting older?
Oh, for sure.
Dude, at my age, I think I wouldn't forget about that, because he made a good point about it. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll come back to me later on. But we'll have to see, dude. They're supposed to get actually Grush in a skiff. I mean, that's the rumor. That's the next one. Who knows whenever that's going to be. But even if they get him in there, French, if it's the same people that are going in now and they don't have the clearance now, what are we doing? And supposedly they spent like the rumors of $20,000 on that skiff. I mean, my God.
For nothing?
For nothing, dude. For nothing, bro.
So wait till next time when it's like double that.
Yeah, well, who knows? And it's like, look, I want there to be shit there. I do. Am I going to sit here and tell you that I give you false hope, though? Or on a podcast say, oh, just keep waiting, it's coming. Dude, no. I mean, you're going to get the flat out truth of what I think is going on, which is I don't think that we're going to get anything down the road unless they can get somebody cleared. Now, however, they have a new Speaker of the House. And so Burchett is thinking that maybe they can get the small committee that they want, start subpoenaing people on it. But Burchett is saying that this new speaker is giving them like the full go. Like, look into this, look into the topic. It's cool, but if you're getting denied in a skiff anything, my man, I don't know how far they can go.
And again, the same people being in the skiff.
Right. Same people. But I mean, when it comes to Kirkpatrick, he's always been untrustworthy to me for what I've mentioned before. But I always wonder, does he even really understand what's going on? Because a reporter asked him in the recent interview that he did where they were kind of breaking a lot of this stuff down because the Pentagon released it. It was a big question and answer that they did. And they asked him, do you have access to all the satellite imagery, like everything that we have in the government? He's like, yeah, anything that I needed, I could get access to at that point. But it's like, is that really true?
Then you would have done it already.
Well, it's like, do you have access to the Department of Energy's satellites, their imagery? Because I don't know because to me and what I know about the DOE, they don't answer nobody. And if they don't want to show you shit, bro, you ain't gonna be showing shit.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
And so where I'm like, the DOE, where a lot of people think this is potentially, and I do too, think it's buried behind this paywall. It's buried behind a wall, that we can't get to. If there's really great satellite imagery there, he ain't gonna know. He ain't gonna get it. So it's like he's saying, I'm leaving, in December. My mission's over. He's accomplished what he wanted. Did he?
I guess it would make sense, right?
Did he though?
He didn't get what he wanted, and he's like, all right, see ya.
Well, that's part of it. But now the new rumor is that Battelle, who runs the Oak Ridge National Lab, is bringing him in. They're giving him a position there of employment, which is the craziest thing ever, because as we all know, Battelle is the company where the Roswell wreckage was rumored to, the metamaterials were sent to for analysis. And now you got to think, wait, so he's leaving this program where he said, hey guys, nothing to see here. There's no craft. There's no nothing here. And then goes to work for the company that probably would have said, hey dude, shut up about the UFOs, bro. Right. We're over here working on this shit right now. That to me is just interesting as all get out. What do you think, man? I mean, there's a little bit of
sussy.
I mean, if that's the case, right? If he's going there, I'd say that's a little bit of a conflict of interest.
Oh. A tiny bit of conflict of interest, but do you think if he, I guess we would all know about it if he did end up becoming an employee doing that stuff over there?
Well, what was said is that the name card was put on there and for him, and then they ended up pulling that website down, that part of the website off. So it was there. Somebody got a screenshot and it's gone. So I'm not saying it's 100% official. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that this is what the rumor is. This is the news that's going around. I want to discuss it.
Well, maybe just from the one screenshot, he was like, "Damn it, can't go over there now."
Well, look, I mean, there's IT, there's people that are running the logistics at Oak Ridge that probably aren't, if there is, back engineering stuff that's went on, they're probably not privy. They're probably a regular person in there that might have threw the employment thing up too soon or something. Hey, accidents happen, man. Especially in government situations.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely possible. I think it's possible, and if it turns out to be the case that that's where he's going, dude, we have to look into that. Like the whole community has to question that, whether you're an ultra skeptic or not. It is very weird that that's where he would roll on to next.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah, without a doubt, man.
I'll tell you what, towards the end of the year, we'll find out who denied who declined invites, and other people's places of employment.
Yeah, depending on how quick the FOIA comes back for Greenwald, I mean, some of those can take a long time.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the whole FOIA process works. I mean, he got some stuff back from Grush pretty quick though. Obviously redacted a lot of it. So maybe we'll get it quick. Maybe we'll have to wait. Maybe they want to wait until Kirkpatrick is out of there. I don't know if that matters but at the end of the day, the DoD Arrow, they don't play by ufology's rules. They don't play by our rules, so they'll do whatever they want to do. They'll release it when they're damn well ready for it. The last thing that's in the news, I guess, that we can go over real quick is that they finally are beginning to open up submissions through Arrow from public submissions. So it's not just the military submissions anymore. So I'm sure that the wacky videos are going to start rolling into Arrow. Bart and the Simpson family flying on a UFO. Hey, this is in my backyard. Kirkpatrick, will you take a look? What do you think? How do you think that goes?
I think it's like The Office again. It goes to a special folder and gets sent to corporate. Like, doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
It's just a funnel to an incinerator. I think is what it is. It's like, okay, you guys want to be heard. Here's all the things you've seen. Send it over here, and we can continue doing the stuff that we're doing, and you can feel good about yourself that you've submitted and contributed to the cause.
Yeah, anything good. I mean, they're just going to control that at that point and say whatever they want. I mean, they're going to, oh yeah, we looked at it. It's a balloon. Nothing.
Oh, absolutely. There's going to be like a filter. It's just going to be like, no, it's not. It's not this. It's not that. It's not this.
Yeah, and I worry that even if they were going to take these submissions seriously, French, that that's the day one that they flick the switch and turn it on, and they start getting just ridiculous stuff, just spam, because people will troll.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
That's gonna happen, guys. I mean, 4chan's a thing, okay? And they will get a hold of it, and they will troll. If they were gonna take it serious, like past day one, are they like, look, dude, this is just ridiculous? Do they even like look at it anymore? Let it pile up and just hit delete every once in a while, or because how are we supposed to know, right?
You wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to give us reports, but I mean, how are we gonna make sure that we got public reports?
Who we're talking about. Yeah, look who we're talking about already.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't been like very well known to, report back. It's, here's a website. Here's something else now that you can submit and do all this. It's, who knows? They might leave it on, but they just won't pay no mind to it, and they'll just create something else, that branches off of that. I think it just seems like distraction.
I still think, I just think it's a way for them to, I don't mean to beat a dead horse. I've harped on this for months now, but I just really think that it's a way for them to grab the narrative back, man. Because I mean, think about it, dude. Like when we don't have any interest from Congress anymore, if that falls out, if Grush ends up really face planting here, who else are we going to turn to? If you want to turn to the government, let's say if you were looking for government support, you got Arrow, bro. Good luck.
Right, and you've got the public submissions of all the crazies out there that are sending weird, wacky stuff. Like you said, just trolling them at that point. It just doesn't seem like a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fault them for opening it up. I mean, I think it's it makes it look good for them, right? It makes it look like they're interested. Come on, man. I just don't think they're really going to follow up with any of that. I just think that they're looking to control the narrative at that point. Yeah.
Which I mean,
Oh,
you
go ahead.
saying that that is a good point. Like it would be an easy way to do so, control the narrative.
Well, yeah. I mean, how many times are you going to have reporters that come in for that briefing from the Pentagon and they can ask questions, right?
Hmm.
How many times are they going to come in and say, "Hey, did you see that UFO video that came out? And what did you guys think?" And they say, "Ah, it's a balloon. It's nothing," or "It's we don't know. It's nothing." But we're not really going to get into it any further, even though we don't know or we can't look at this. They're going to get bored. Like they're going to stop asking. How many times are you going to hear the word no before you stop?
Right.
Right? So that's
100%.
yeah. So everyone says, "Oh, the New York Times article, the media is all involved." When the reporters stop asking, and they're getting a lot of articles, and they're getting a lot of this movement to the mainstream media, to these big news companies, they're not getting it anymore either, and it's just bye bye. We're not talking about anything anymore. And then ufology kind of just drops back into talking about Roswell again, which is shit, dude. It sucks, you know. But it may be behind everything may be behind the DOE, man. Who knows? I hope not. I hope they're able to shake something out long term, you know. But that's kind of what the news that I had. I see Elizondo was at Point Pleasant. He was looking at the Mothman and everything.
Was he?
Yeah, if you want to update on what Elizondo's doing, he's he's vacationing with the Mothman.
I'll tell you what, I am a member of that search party.
I'm sure he's having fun, dude. I'm sure he's gearing up his book. Did you get a chance? And be honest, did you get a chance to see the stuff with Manny yet? The interview we did with Manny. I know you've been busy.
Yeah. I started it and I got like
Okay.
halfway through.
Okay. Yeah, it's long. It's long. Yeah, for everybody.
I'm trying to remember if I did, but I did this morning.
I mean, I sent you a lot of stuff this morning, so it is what it is. There's only so many hours in a day. If you guys haven't, if you're new, you're here with the VOD. If you are here live, I don't ever look at the number, but if you are here and you want to see the interview we did with Manny Area 503, he's the guy who did the Who's Lou documentary. We interviewed him last week. It's on here on the channel. It's really awesome. Definitely check him out too. He's got a lot of new stuff coming. He kind of gave me a little behind the scenes after the show of what he's got coming out, projects they're working on. Really cool stuff with some people that he spoke to. So I don't bring it up to be secretive. I don't tell you to be secretive, but I just think he wants to, let that news out, and he wants to really spread that. And so he said that he'll see what he can do, but when everything gets rolling for him, they can come back and talk about it, and maybe we'll get a trailer on the channel or something like that, which would be awesome. Manny's cool, dude. Super cool guy to talk to, by the way. Big gamer. He had a Skyrim poster on his wall, dude. And,
yeah, I know. I love that.
yeah, when he came in pre-show, I was listening to, like I do all the time, I listen to the Skyrim soundtrack in the background. And I was like, dude, I'm listening to Skyrim Atmospheres right now. He's like, yeah. He's like, really? He's like, yeah, I always play this music and everything in the background. He does the same thing when he's doing stuff. Well, we got lucky with that interview, by the way. He's this like the last weekend when I because I messaged him like 2 weeks before it because we went on vacation, so we weren't going to do episode the following weekend. But I messaged him and he was like, yeah, man, because I just happened to have that weekend free. We're losing French again here. Oh, he's back. Boy,
Jesus,
dude, you're dropping in and out like crazy. I wonder if it's your router. Every once you might want to reset your router, but at some point, just refresh it. Maybe something before the shows. But he was mentioning like, yeah, you got lucky, man. I just had the weekend off. Otherwise, I'd have told you no if you'd messaged me before. So, and he really truly was one of the top people that I've wanted to have on the show, and it was great. It was great. So definitely go check it out.
Yeah, I loved listening to him. Like when he got to the part about like all the homes and stuff, and like how he was getting ready to like quit his job and everything, and then he was talking about how his wife was already having like dinners with Tom DeLonge and
this
everything.
is Elizondo he's talking about, not Manny.
Yeah, Lou
but
Elizondo.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
I was like, that's super like really crazy to think about, because that was one of the things like watching the documentary that like I remembered, like it stuck out to me as like strange, like all the timestamps that they found for all the different properties and everything, and the money and stuff, and like he's getting ready to quit his job and he's telling everybody that he's getting ready to move here and everything, even though the house is already there and his wife's having dinner with Tom DeLonge and stuff. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, no way.
Elizondo, man, he's slippery.
Boy, he really is, isn't he?
Yeah, Yeah, we didn't get really what we wanted. He'll end up putting his book out probably next year, once the heat's kind of died down, man. I still think that book is a big part of his retirement plan. So and you make a lot of money on a book, brother. Audio books, you never know what they're gonna do later on for movies, what have you. It's just kind of this. Once you put it in a book form like that, you can kind of chop it up and do whatever you want. So we'll see.
Alberino's book looked interesting that he plugged at the end of that video.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear the book.
I can't remember the name of it, but I think he said he just released it or something. It's like on Amazon.
Okay.
And
yeah, you got that. Well, I guess I missed that part at the very end. I mean, granted, I was like mowing on a Chipotle bowl at the very end of it, so
Birthright. Yeah, that's what it was.
What's that about? Do you know?
The coming post-human apocalypse, and I don't know how to pronounce this word because I'm illiterate, but usurpation of Adam's dominion on planet Earth. And I was like, wow, that sounds like really crazy, like and interesting.
Yeah, I've never heard of him before this Peru stuff popped up. So I don't really know a lot from him. I'd have to go back and look at more of the stuff on his channel and see. Once again, the channel description or the link for that video is in the description. So make sure to definitely go check it out. I mean, the guy provided us pretty cool content. I mean, I was entertained. Were you entertained by the Peru
absolutely
report?
Yeah.
Dude, I was entertained, bro. And I didn't feel like I was being entertained for a snake oil reason either. I felt like Correct. it was just really good reporting that I was entertained by, and I hope they stick with that. But I think that's gonna wrap it up, brother. We're kind of at our end here, and we've went over a lot of the news I think is important. Just for housekeeping here at the end, make sure to like, share, subscribe the show. It definitely helps. Even if you just hit like, the algorithm kicks it in, and a lot of our views do come from the VOD from after. And we get about 4 days of increase in views as it goes. After about day 4, day 5, it starts to trail off. But I know YouTube has got some algorithm changes and things that are going on. So any kind of interaction, comment, tell us what you think. I definitely reply to all the comments too. Like to see what you guys are thinking in there. So, but be nice, man. Come on, be nice.
And I do have a Twitter set up finally now.
Yes, so. French has a Twitter. Please do go follow. My Twitter's linked in there. I got to link your Twitter then because you just got that going. What's your Twitter?
Yeah. At Steve French 102.
Okay, at Steve French 102. I'll add that in the description a little bit after here. But yeah, I really enjoyed talking tonight, bro. I mean, it's nice to have a one-on-one again. Absolutely. We've had guest after guest after guest, which I'm going to try to get a guest for next weekend. Hopefully it works, but we'll see. And yeah, man. Everybody have a great rest of your Saturday or whatever day you're on when you're watching this. And we'll see you on Terrestrial Material next time.
Boys. All right. See you guys later.
Have a great night, everybody. Thank you.